Hey, everybody. I am Mr. Gostomski. I'm one of the Accelerated Honors Math teachers here at JM Robinson. Thank you for coming to our virtual curriculum night, and I'm going to share a presentation with you all that walks through some of the important things and some of the changes from last year that you guys will need to know for this upcoming school year. All right. There is a little bit about me. There is my email. My email is also located on the JM Robinson website. It's stephenp.gostomski@cms.k12.nc.us. Email is probably the easiest way to reach me if it's not something that's a dire need. I tend to reply to emails as quickly as I possibly can. The max I'm allotted is like 24 hours, but it never really is that long. And there's the school phone number if you need to get in contact with somebody that's an emergency or something that needs to be resolved very quickly. I included a picture of my family. My wife is also a CMS teacher. She works at Matthews Elementary. My oldest is in first grade at Matthews Elementary, and then my youngest is at pre-K. So Accelerated Honors students, a couple of things I've noticed the past few years working with Accelerated Honors classes and the students. They tend to be extremely motivated. Oftentimes they're surprised at the amount of work that we have to do and the level of rigor that goes on in this class. The pace is extremely fast, and oftentimes they're not used to the pace and the workload that is required for this class. Essentially, we're going to be doing almost 2.5 years worth of math in this 1 year. So there's a lot we got to get through. So like I said, the pace is fairly quick. Homework, we will do weekly math homeworks every week. I'll talk about that more in a little bit. And then on occasion, we'll do nightly homeworks. And I'm committed to making this year a great year. Another thing about Accelerated Honors students is in the past, they probably have excelled with doing very minimal work. So this comes as a surprise when they're used to having these high expectations, and they might get a test grade that's a B. This is a good year to learn about growing and learning how to persevere. Oftentimes we may not get the best result that we want originally, but if we work and learn and do some extra exercises in class and at home, then I'm confident that they will excel in this class. Another thing I just want to be careful so they don't feel overwhelmed. And we want to emphasize the importance of showing work. So here's a list of some of the 7th grade standard course of study. The topics are number system, expressions and equations, geometry, ratios and proportions, and statistics and probability. So these topics are important because they will be taking a 7th grade EOG at the end of the year. So they will have to know all of these concepts and all the facets that go off of them. For the 7th grade concepts, they will be incorporated in daily warm-ups. So we do that first thing of every single class, and also through the weekly math. When the students are given these weekly math assignments, it is all 7th grade math. And the purpose of this is to keep them current and fresh on these topics, which they probably learned last year. So the bulk of the course that the kids are going to learn this year is going to be 8th grade, and then about half of the Math 1 content. So here's a list of the 8th grade course description. These are some of the topics we will cover: slope, linear equations, real numbers in the number system. If you notice, rational versus irrational, the students just finished up their first unit, which was all about this. Pythagorean theorem, functions, graphs, and transformations. Here are a list of some of the Math 1 concepts that we will be doing. We're only going to do about half of the Math 1 concepts. The other half they will learn next year when they are in 8th grade. And some of these concepts are exponents, scientific notation, solving equations, functions and linear functions, and statistics. And what we try to do is we blend some of the units. So for example, the next unit we're going to be starting is exponents. So the exponents that are in 8th grade, the skills teach them the basic rules for solving for exponents. Well, with the Math 1, is it takes that and applies it to monomials and polynomials. So we will we will combine that into like sort of 2 half units, because since the one skill builds off of the other skill, we feel that, this is the best way to do it, rather than teaching the 8th grade skill and then, maybe in March or April, teaching the math 1 skill. All right, some of my classroom expectations: come prepared, organized, and be ready to engage. My tutoring schedule is Wednesday mornings from 7:15 to 7:45 with prior email confirmation from the previous day. What I mean is, since the students have to be here at 7:15, they're not going to be riding a bus. So I want to ensure that they are getting dropped off. So what I would prefer them to do is ask permission to see if they can get a ride Tuesday when they get home from school, if they want to come to tutoring, and then they can email me Tuesday, late afternoon, early evening, and tell me that they would like to come to tutoring. So I know that they will have a ride and I will be here. Homework expectations. I keep mentioning this weekly math because it's extremely important. So they will get a weekly math on Friday, and then the following Friday, they will come and input their answers into a Canvas quiz. So they can complete this however they want. Some students, like to do day by day. Others, might like to get it done over the weekend. Hopefully they don't wait till Thursday night to get it all done. But this will be taken for a grade based on how well they do for correctness. Other opportunities that we do for homework, maybe sometimes I might check to see if it's completed. And I always try to provide all the answers so the students can double check their own work. Some of my non-negotiables: they must show work for every problem. Answers must be visible. Graphs must be on graph paper unless we're using a calculator. Math should be completed in pencil. I always give 100% effort. And if you are unsure about a topic, ask. I cannot stress this enough. I always tell the students, if you don't ask questions, I don't want to find out when it comes to me grading the formals that you don't know something. I'd rather we solve any issues prior so I don't get any surprises. Attendance, be on time. So there's a couple of things for parents and students as far as attendance goes. But another thing I want to mention too is everything we do, I will put on Canvas, just in case a student is absent, maybe for a day or for a few days, so they know where they can find the work. And every module in Canvas is labeled by date, so they know exactly what material goes with what day. Typical day in math. The students will come in, we'll do a warm-up. This warm-up will be strictly based on 7th grade concepts. We'll check over homework or go over homework if they had some from the previous night. We will typically do a new lesson, and the way it's delivered varies. We will do some practice after that. I like to do a whole bunch of things, maybe get the kids moving around the room a little bit, group work, whatever it may be. And then sometimes we will close out with an exit ticket just to assess how they did for that specific content. Here's our grading scale. The grading scale hasn't changed. It's still 10 points for each letter grade. All right, so this is something that's new to CMS, and this was a district-wide change. In years prior, we've had informal and formal assessments. The informals were 35% and the formals were 65%. Well, what they've done is they've created these 3 new topics and the new percentage weights that go along with them. Well, one thing that's nice about this is our formal assessments are not weighted as high. So if you have a student that's not the greatest test taker, this won't hurt or impact their grade as significant as it would have in years prior. So the way these are set up is 20% weight goes along with prepare grades. And these would be like classwork, general homework. If I want to grade a warm up, that would be a prepare grade. The rehearse grades would be quizzes and weekly maths. The reason the weekly maths are in there is because, once again, these is the 7th grade skills will be what the students are tested on at the end of the year. So I really want to make sure that they're current and stay up to date on those skills. And then 50% perform. These would be our formal assessments that the students would be taking. And another note, the perform assessments can be retaken to improve their grade. And this is a little bit of an adjustment too from last year, which I will go into further. All right, so for any kind of perform assessments, all students would do test corrections unless they got 100 on the original test. This would be a homework grade or a classwork grade, depending on when the students are assigned this particular assignment. So As far as retests go, in years prior, you had to have below a 79 to take a retest. And then you could, earn up to a 79, depending on how you did on the retest. Well, this year it's a little bit different. Anybody can take a retest and you can earn up to 100% if you make 100% on the retest. Now, in order to do so, there's some tasks that need to be completed. The students would have to get a request to retest form, and there's some information needed to fill in on there. In addition to their corrections, the students need to do 2 other activities that I have not done in class. So maybe if there's stuff on Canvas that I posted, but we just never did in class, they can do some of that. Maybe CUDA is another place they can get some resources from. Just Googling the skill, and they need to have this work turned in along with their form, and then we can set up a time where they can do a retest. The student assessments and the course breakdown. So students will be assessed on 7th grade math, 8th grade math, and math 1 concepts throughout the year, regardless of what is being taught. So like I said, students will be taking the 7th grade EOG at the end of the year. So the content that we will primarily be teaching in class, which is the 8th grade and the math 1, they actually will not be tested on at the end of the year. So I will do a crash course in April and May on all the 7th grade content, but this is why those warm-ups and those weekly maths are so imperative, because this will help keep them current. So at the end of the year, our crash course will go a lot smoother than it may have if we did not do those things. And it's required that they all stay current on all of that material. Some school supplies. Students should always have pencils for math. If they want to take notes in pen, that's fine. Something to put notes in, either a notebook or maybe a folder with or a binder with paper in it. Graphing paper is always good. If they have a graphing calculator, that's great. If they don't, that's okay too, because I have some here that they can borrow. So for my wish list, tissues are always great, Clorox wipes, activity balls, and maybe a broom and a dustpan. And I just want to say thank you and ready for all of the things that you guys have brought in from the start of the school year. I really appreciate it. A couple of things with PowerSchool. Hopefully parents can get logged into PowerSchool. It's important to stay on top of how your student is doing. Another thing that's different for this year is I cannot put in a grade lower than 50 unless the assignment was not turned in at all. So if a student turns in an assignment and the grade is below a 50, what I would do is I would put a 50 in the grade, and then under the comment, I will put like student's actual score was 35% or whatever it may be, okay? And once again, I also want to reiterate that Canvas is extremely important because I will post everything on Canvas. So that's a one-stop shop to see everything that we got going on in class. Student support, I'm here for tutoring Wednesday morning at 7:15 with prior approval. I'm always available for questions, even if it's first thing in the morning when I'm standing in the hall or at the end of the day. Calculators are great for students, and there's also a ton of online resources through Canvas, iExcel, CUDA, Khan Academy is great too. So there's tons of places where students can get additional support if needed. If you have any questions, please email me and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Like I said, I love taking questions and talking with everybody and getting to know everybody. And I'm hopeful that, maybe at some point this year, we will get to see each other. And, I'm thankful that I got to meet so many of you guys in open house. I also want to say thank you for watching this video, and please let me know if there's anything else I can do to help you out and make this year even more successful than it already will be. Thank you for your time, and I hope you all have a great night.